SCUM is an open-world multiplayer survival game with a highly detailed character development system, where skills are the best tool for long-term survival. There are a ton of mechanics in this game, like speed for example. The game actually takes the character's weight and gear load into consideration. This game also, which we've seen in GTA, has inertia. And when it comes to unarmed combat in this game, there's a lot of things to factor in. There's skill level, diet, your gear that you have on, as well as your strength, that all tie into how well you'll be able to fight, with unarmed combat. Unlike other previous survival games that we've seen which have unarmed combat, or even just melee attacks with, let's say fire extinguisher, or even a frying pan, we actually have a highly detailed fighting system in this game, which is honestly just unheard of when it comes to a survival game, honestly. There's a lot to play around with here. You can, bob and weave, and I believe there's going to be a couple more, fighting styles, or at least a couple more moves you can do inside the game, of course, with your skill level being a little bit higher. But being that this is just a pre-alpha, there's not much that we're seeing here yet. Weapons take a realistic approach to the skill system too. Your intelligence, for example, will be good for sniping, where strength will be good for controlling recoil with a semi-automatic gun or an automatic gun just in general. Now, being sick, out of shape, or injured will hurt your ability to react on the fly, as shown here. When shooting from a distance, having a scope is key. In order to properly range your target, you have to know caliber, pressure, wind, humidity, altitude, and temperature in order to pull off that perfect shot. Now, for my 2 cents in this bit, I don't mind having to zero a shot. I've had to do it in PUBG, I've had to do it in Arma, I've had to do it in other games. But to have to know the temperature, the pressure, the humidity, the wind velocity, so on and so forth, I think it's a little bit too much, especially if I'm going to have to lead a shot. It's just going to be all over the place. Now, that's not even to, bear in mind with, if there's heavy rain or there's heavy wind that day or during that time that you're playing, it's going to just make it that much more difficult. The wetness property of this game is actually pretty advanced. You can wear multiple layers of clothes that protect you from the weather, but do take into mind that your character does sweat, and you will sweat a little bit more. The more layers you have, the warmer it's going to be. Rain is something that you also might want to be avoiding in SCUM, because in this example, you have a character on the left which is actually being weighed down by the rain and all of his gear getting wet, where the character on the right has a raincoat on, and some of his gear is getting wet, but not all of it. If for some reason you decide to jump into a body of water with all of your gear on, there is a big chance that you will sink like a rock. Now, I highly advise that if you do want to get into a body of water, you take your gear off, prior. But if you're not able to, and you jump into the water or you accidentally fall into the water, just make sure to take off your gear off so you can, be able to swim again. There also is a swim skill in this game, so that's another one to add to the books. To dry your gear, you can take your gear off and put it right next to a fire to speed up the process. Or you can just walk around and eventually your body heat will evaporate the water, thus making your character lighter again. And one of the cool things that I do like about the game is that it does take into consideration the material that you're using. So for example, your helmet's going to dry faster than your t-shirt, leather's going to dry differently from the raincoat, so on and so forth. Stealth is very dependent on a couple of factors. You're going to have how fit you are, your skill traits in stealth, as well as what type of gear you're wearing. Now, for example, if you're somebody that's, slim, as well as you're not wearing too much gear, you're going to be pretty quiet. But if you're a heavy-set guy that's wearing, a body vest, helmet, has your gun on you, a book bag, shoes, as well as pants, you're going to make a little bit more noise than everybody else around you. Which I think is actually pretty interesting that they added in that. Now, I think this is where the biggest hit or miss is in this video game. In most third-person shooters, when you're about to get into combat, or you are in combat, your opponent or you have an advantage. If you're up at a higher advantage point, and your opponent's below you, you can easily look down upon them. Or if you're behind a wall and you third person around a corner, you can see where your opponent is at and they cannot see where you're at. But in SCUM, in order to counter that, they force you to peek in order to see another player. So for example, even if a character is out in the open and you can easily third person above the ledge, the player is invisible. If your character then peeks, you're able to see the character, in full person, and it lets it to be a little bit more of a level playing field. That way, because you're peeking, the other character that might be below you or, might be around that corner has a chance to actually see you. Now, before I explain exactly what this is and what's going on in this picture, make sure you take it all in, because this is where the game starts to get very, very interesting. Now, your awareness skill and your tactic skill are going to allow you to see and track enemies through wall by predicting, where they are and or if they're wearing camo or not. By the way, there also is a camo skill, which also, complements the stealth skill in this game. I have a couple of examples here. Yeah, there's a lot in this game, and I know it's a lot to take in, and I do apologize, but I'm just trying to cover a little bit of everything in just one video. But your awareness and tactic skill will be essentially what you're using against your opponent, which your opponent is using the stealth and camo skill. So for example, awareness is going to be how aware you are of your opponent. So if somebody's wearing, a camo or just has a really high stealth skill, it's going to be something like you noticing them in the grass, or also it'll include, you noticing that item that's, on the ground that's hidden in the dark. So it's just going to be your awareness as overall. Now your tactic skill is going to be what allows you to use this very weird mechanic that I can't wrap my head around it yet, which is going to allow you to predict where enemies are going, through walls, which is this red outline. Like I'm not not sure exactly how that well this is going to work into the game, but I mean we're just going to have to wait. We're just going to have to wait. I'm getting I'm speechless. I don't really know what to say about this. All in all, this game really does look very good, and it at times will seem a little bit too good to me. It does have a lot of skills. It does have, the dieting, it has the sickness, it has the injuries, it has the it's just really in depth with a lot of things, and I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, because some games that have a lot of detail tend to be a little bit more tedious than good. But I mean, I'm up to try it. I'm very, very willing. I think it has, a lot of resemblance of other games that we've played, which are here, but it still has its own, twist on it, which is, it being very in detail and, having inertia, having, humidity and pressure and this, that, and another. I'm pretty interested for this game. Like it's going to be coming out, I believe they said Q2. It might get pushed back. We don't know yet. But I will cover as much as I can about this game. I hope you guys check it out, and I hope you guys like this video. Like, dislike, subscribe to me. I would love if you guys did all that, as well as comment below on what you think about the game overall. Man, the game looks interesting. It really does. It really does. But nonetheless, guys, I am Foolish Paul. I do stream on Twitch TV every single night. Catch me there. It's going to be a link in the description below. Peace, motherfuckers. I'm out.